This is not a pandemic. This is not the year 2020. It is the summer of 2025. And airports in the United States are becoming strangely quiet. People are posting photos of nearly empty planes. Some flights have only a few passengers. Even big international flights are flying with just a few people. There is no travel ban. There is no new virus. But more than 3 million people from Canada, the UK, and Europe have quietly cancelled their trips to the US. Some of the biggest airports in the country now feel empty. Cities like New York, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and Orlando are struggling. These cities used to welcome millions of tourists. Now, they are trying to survive. Flights from cities like Toronto, London, and Tokyo are being cancelled or delayed again and again. Even American travelers are flying less. For the first time since the pandemic, TSA says the number of passengers is going down. In this video, we will look at 15 US airports that are in serious trouble. Millions of travelers have changed their plans. Why is the world quietly turning away from the US? Is your local airport next? Let's start with JFK Airport in New York. JFK used to be full of people from all over the world. It was called the Gateway to America. Every day, thousands of travelers came through its doors. Now, the airport is almost silent. You can hear your own footsteps as you walk. Many seats are empty. The airport is open, but people are staying away. There are no more children asking their parents about Disney. There are no more long lines of travelers waiting with their passports. The dream of visiting America is fading. New York is expected to lose over 3 million international visitors in 2025. That means around $25 billion will disappear from the city's economy. Restaurants, museums, and stores are empty. A woman from England said, "I used to fly to New York every 2 years to see Broadway shows. But this year, I canceled my trip. Not because I'm scared of America, but because it no longer feels welcoming." This is not just about one canceled trip. It shows a growing distance between the US and the rest of the world. If JFK is this quiet, what is happening at smaller airports that depend even more on tourists? Now let's talk about LAX in Los Angeles. LAX used to be full of celebrities and tourists. But now, it has rows of empty seats. Many flights are canceled. The route from Toronto to LAX was one of the busiest in the world. Now, 76% of those flights are gone. Why did this happen? First, Canada warned its citizens to be careful when traveling to the US. They are worried about shootings, protests, and poor services. Second, the Canadian dollar is weak. That makes a trip to California very expensive. Third, many people simply do not feel safe in America anymore. One businessman from Toronto said, "Prices in Santa Monica are 40% higher than before the pandemic. The service is worse. I don't want to spend thousands of dollars just to feel nervous." This problem is not about politics or visas. It is about trust. And people are losing trust. Los Angeles had 30% fewer international visitors in the first half of 2025. It is the biggest drop on the West Coast. Even San Francisco and Seattle are doing better. Canada, one of America's closest neighbors, has canceled the most flights to the US not because of a fight, but because travelers no longer feel safe or welcome. LAX used to be like a red carpet for tourists. Now it feels like a movie theater where no one came to watch the film. The boarding gates close like curtains at the end of an empty show. If even Canada is staying away, who else will come? Next, let's go to Orlando, the place where kids' dreams used to come true. Orlando is home to Disney World. Families from around the world visited to meet Mickey Mouse and the princesses. But now, it is almost empty. Before, you had to book your Disney trip months in advance. Now, tickets are still available on many days. Orlando Airport just had the biggest drop in international visitors in 10 years. And this happened during the summer travel season. A mother in Texas promised her 7-year-old son that if he did well in school, he could go to Disney. But when she saw the total cost over $2,800, she had to cancel. She told her son, Disney is under renovation, because she didn't want to say the truth. They simply couldn't afford it. Now, a trip to Disney is no longer a reward for good kids. It has become a big financial burden for families. Plane tickets are 45% more expensive than in 2019. Hotel prices near Disney have nearly doubled. Add park tickets and food, and it becomes too much for many families. Inflation is not just hurting people's wallets. It is also taking away happy memories from children. Many kids today will never travel like their parents once did. Reports say many hotels in Orlando are struggling to stay open. 1/3 of all online searches for Orlando trips were canceled during the booking period. Disney World still looks magical. The music still plays. But now, only rich families are smiling inside. In some states, people are even paying in installments to buy fast food. So who is still thinking about taking their children to Disney? When was the last time you took your child or grandchild on a trip? Are we watching the quiet end of the American childhood dream? Now let's go to Las Vegas. McCarran Airport in Las Vegas used to welcome crowds of excited tourists. The city was full of lights, parties, and fun. But now, even the parking lots are empty. A single mother from Vancouver used to visit Vegas every year to relax. This year, she did not go. She said, "I used to feel free in Vegas. But this year, I didn't even buy a ticket. I don't feel welcome in America anymore." Her words were soft, but they mean a lot. Las Vegas expects visitor numbers to drop by 8% in the second quarter of 2025. That means hundreds of thousands of people are staying away. Major casinos are losing money. Restaurants, bars, and shops are cutting staff or closing early. Vegas is not short on hotels or events. But it is short on trust. Many news stories about crime and fights on the Vegas Strip are scaring away tourists. And travel costs are also rising. Tear the pandemic. People are saying, if I have to risk my money and my safety, I'd rather go somewhere else. It's hard to believe. Las Vegas used to be a fun place for quick trips. Now, people stop and think before going there. Las Vegas, once full of lights and energy, now looks like a stage with no audience. The airport, once full of laughter and excitement, now feels like a quiet bar after closing time. This was once called the world's resort, but now, people are choosing not to go. So what comes next? Do you feel that America is slowly drifting away from the people who once loved it most? Let's talk about Denver International Airport. This airport was once the busiest stop for cross-country flights in the western US. Now, it is cutting flights, laying off workers, and losing passengers even during the busy season. For the first time since the pandemic, domestic travel at Denver has dropped for 3 quarters in a row. And it's not because of a new virus, a snowstorm, or government rules. Even Americans are flying less. It's unusual, but it makes sense. When prices rise and incomes shrink, people travel less. Visiting family or going on a business trip is no longer easy. Domestic flight prices are up 26% compared to last year. But service has gotten worse. Flights are delayed more often. Many people now choose to drive 12 hours instead of flying for 2 hours just to avoid delays and lost luggage. Denver was once the heart of air travel in the US. Now, even Americans are avoiding it. An IT worker in Phoenix used to fly to Chicago from Denver twice a month. Now, he uses online meetings or drives when needed. He said, "I've lost faith in domestic airlines. No one told me when my flight was canceled. No one said sorry when I missed my event." This isn't just one bad experience. It's a deeper feeling, a sense that people have been left behind by the system they once trusted. Denver has already lost more than 1.2 million travelers in the first half of 2025. Even though the airport is expanding, it isn't helping. Flight delays and cancellations have gone up by 18%. Now many travelers try to avoid Denver if they can. TSA says the number of people passing through Denver security has dropped for 3 quarters in a row. This hasn't happened since 9/11. This shows the problem is not coming from outside. It is coming from inside the system. Denver, once the connection point for America, now feels like a gas station with traffic jams. People only pass through because they have no choice and they want to leave quickly. The halls that once echoed with travelers' footsteps are now quiet, except for the sound of vacuum cleaners and announcements of canceled flights. If Americans no longer believe in air travel, is America losing its ability to stay connected even with itself? Have you ever canceled a flight because it didn't feel worth it anymore? Tell us your story in the comments. Now we go to Seattle. Seattle is still a tech hub. But its airport is starting to feel like an empty train station. Seattle-Tacoma International Airport was once the top trade and travel gateway in the Pacific Northwest. Now, it is becoming quiet, empty, and losing many international routes. Flights from cities like Tokyo, Seoul, and London used to be full. Now, many of those planes fly with just a few rows of passengers. This airport used to be full of tourists and tech experts. Now it feels frozen even in the middle of summer. A software engineer from Tokyo used to attend a yearly tech conference in Seattle. This year, his company moved the event to Singapore. He said, "The problem is high costs, bad connections, and the hassle of leaving the airport. Seattle is a place where technology meets beautiful nature." But now, it is trapped between two problems. First, the homelessness crisis near the airport makes many travelers feel unsafe. Second, hotel prices are rising. Taxes are high. And there are more travel warnings from Europe and Asia, warning about crime in US cities. Seattle, once called the place where clouds meet innovation, now has an airport covered in fog, both real and symbolic. The lights are on. The systems are working. But there are fewer people, less energy, and fewer reasons to visit. For the first time in 15 years, Seattle is no longer in the top 10 airports for travel from Asia to the US. It's a quiet fall but a warning. If even a forward-looking, modern city like Seattle is losing its tourists, what hope is there for the rest of the US travel industry? Do you think international visitors are just taking a break from America? Or are they leaving and not planning to come back? Now we go to O'Hare Airport in Chicago. O'Hare used to be known as the airport that never sleeps. Today, it's a different story. Many departure gates close in the middle of the day. Shops no longer stay open all night. Taxi lines are short because there are no passengers. International visitors from Europe are not coming like they used to. There has been a big drop in tourists from Germany, the UK, and Italy. Some reasons include stricter visa rules and the US becoming less attractive to tourists. Even American travelers are flying less. They are unhappy with high ticket prices, constant delays, and poor service. There have been many airline problems. And airlines are now choosing smaller airports because they cost less to use. So even local US travelers are avoiding big hubs like O'Hare. Airlines are now using smaller airports because they are cheaper and less busy. Some big airlines may even move their main hubs from O'Hare to places like Minneapolis. Chicago is losing travelers, not because of other cities, but because of its own problems. O'Hare used to be a very busy international airport. Now it feels like an empty toll booth in the middle of nowhere. The planes are still there. The doors still open. But the excitement is gone. If big airports like Chicago are being avoided, what will keep US tourism alive? Have you ever been stuck at O'Hare? Now imagine it without crowds, not because it runs better, but because no one is coming. Let's go to Honolulu. Honolulu used to be a top place for honeymoons. Millions of tourists came from Asia. Now it is quiet, like a beautiful picture no one looks at. At the airport, international flight screens are almost empty. Flights from Tokyo, Seoul, and Taipei used to bring many tourists. Now, some days, there are only 2 flights. Asian tourists worry about high prices and not feeling welcome. Hawaii's government raised taxes and hotel fees. They also started limiting how many people can visit. They did this because of too many tourists in the past. There are also cultural problems and local anger toward visitors. America's current image has made this worse. Hawaii is still beautiful, but it doesn't feel friendly anymore. Since before the pandemic, international visitors to Hawaii dropped by over 36%. Honolulu Airport lost about 40 international flights each week compared to 2019. Hawaii lost almost $3 billion in tourism money in just 1 year. In 2025, Japanese tourists visiting Hawaii dropped to the lowest number in over 30 years. It was even worse than after the 2008 financial crisis. This drop may look small, but it hurts Hawaii deeply. Hawaii used to shine like a jewel in the Pacific. Now it sits quiet on the beach. The sand is still there. The waves still roll in. But there are no footprints. If a peaceful and sunny place like Hawaii is losing tourists, what does that say about America? Is the American dream still alive? Or is it just a memory? Now imagine a city with sunshine almost all year. It's a perfect place to escape winter. But the airport is empty, even in peak season. Phoenix Sky Harbor used to be one of the fastest growing airports in the US, now it has far fewer international visitors. Flights from Canada, Arizona's biggest winter market, are down by 70% on some routes. No more Canadian tourists walking in the sun. The airport feels like a waiting room with no one waiting. Outside it is hot, about 40 degrees Celsius. But inside, it feels cold because it is so empty. Arizona was once great for Canadian and European visitors. It had dry weather, low prices, and lots of space. But things have changed. Canada now warns its people to be careful when traveling to the US. Phoenix has many retired Canadians living there. Now they worry about high emergency medical costs in the US. This fear keeps them away. Also, Phoenix doesn't have many new things to see. It doesn't offer much culture, food, or exciting places. So travelers now choose Mexico or Southern Europe instead. Phoenix was once known for its sunshine and beauty. Now it feels like a resort that people forgot. There's still sunlight, but no warm welcome. Sky Harbor now feels like a vacation spot that has been left behind. And this is happening right in the middle of tourist season. If even loyal visitors are avoiding Phoenix, who will keep its tourism alive? Can sunshine alone bring people back? Let's look at Boston. Boston is known around the world for freedom, ideas, and education. But now fewer people are putting it on their travel list. Boston Logan Airport is linked to places like Harvard, MIT, and US history. But it is now seeing fewer international travelers. There is no big crisis. But fewer people are coming to visit or learn. Over the last year, the number of international students has dropped a lot. This is because of tough visa rules, high school fees, and more competition from other countries. Countries like Canada, Australia, and the Netherlands are now getting more students. Many exchange programs and scholarships are moving away from the US. Boston still has a lot to offer. But fewer people are coming to enjoy it. The city's old red brick buildings, full of history, now feel like a quiet library. Still lovely, but empty. Logan Airport used to welcome curious people from around the world. Now, it's just a stop on a cancelled or forgotten trip. If a city that helped shape American freedom is being forgotten, what other parts of America are we losing? Have you ever dreamed of visiting Boston? Do you still want to go? Let's head west to Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City International was once a key stop between the West Coast and the middle of the country. Now, it feels almost empty. It didn't have many international flights before. Now it has even fewer. Even some US routes from Seattle, LA, and Denver have been canceled. The airport is still clean. It still works. But travelers are not coming. With fewer people flying, airlines are cutting routes that don't make enough money. Now flying to small cities like Salt Lake costs more. This is because there are not enough passengers to share the cost. People who used to visit Utah for nature or adventure are now going to Colorado, Montana, or Canada. These places are supporting tourism again. Salt Lake is no longer a main travel stop. It could soon disappear from airline maps. The quiet lake in the desert now reflects an airport standing still. It feels like a train station at the end of the line. It is still open and lit. But no one is walking through. If even a calm and beautiful place like Salt Lake is losing visitors, what places in America are truly safe from this travel slowdown? Have you ever visited a peaceful place like Utah? Maybe that chance is gone now. Let's now look at Charlotte. Charlotte Douglas International was once one of the busiest airports in the eastern U.S. Thousands of travelers passed through it every year. Now, it feels quiet. There are fewer night flights. Airport restaurants are closing early. Not because of cost, but because there are no customers. A once busy place now feels like a workplace closing early. Charlotte was a key point for flights going north, south, east, and west. But in 2025, things are different. Americans are flying less both for fun and work. The reasons are high prices, poor service, and many delays. Airlines now focus on big airports like Atlanta, Dallas, and Chicago. Smaller hubs like Charlotte are being left behind. The old system of connecting flights is no longer popular. People want direct flights fast, cheap, and easy. Charlotte is still a good airport. But it is not busy anymore. It feels like a big bus station with fewer buses. Still clean, still lit, but not full of people. It was once a major stop in the south. Now it feels like a dead-end street on the map. If even Charlotte is losing travelers, what's happening to all the smaller cities we can't even fly to now? Have you ever had a layover in Charlotte? Do you still see its name on your flight tickets? From JFK to Honolulu, from Charlotte to Salt Lake, airports that once stood for dreams, travel, and American pride are now going empty in the middle of summer. This is not just a drop in tourism. It's a quiet warning that people's trust is fading. Is this happening where you live? Is your airport still as busy as before? Or is it getting quieter, little by little? Tell us in the comments. We read every one. If you care about stories like this, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. That way, you won't miss the next video. The facts in this video come from public sources, independent research, and real people's feedback. This video does not claim to have all the answers. We simply want to start a conversation. Check the facts yourself and share your own experience too.